Welcome back to PlayStation Livecast. We're here at the PlayStation booth with Jared Garretson, studio director at Zombie, and we are going to talk Daylight. This is coming to PS4, was one that was announced during E3 here. I want to talk a little bit about this. I love a good horror game. I love a good scare. Set me up on the premise for Daylight.
So the premise is very in the shadow. We want the player, each time that they play the game, it's a completely different world that they explore their way through. But each time they play, they'll find different pieces of the world, find out who they are, what's going on, what's happened in this world, and why it's so messed up, and and just travel through the entire story. Originally, we were going to release it in different chapters, but now we're going to release it all in one big, tight bundle.
Awesome. So one of the things that grabbed my attention right away about this game is that you guys are sort of billing it as a psychological horror. Talk a little bit about that philosophy.
I'm a massive fan of Japanese horror, and
who isn't?
Exactly. And American horror is chainsaws and blood and guts and violence, and it's this very American feel. Japanese horror is very subtle. There's smaller things. There's creaks. There's things that are so twisted that it's scary just to look at, versus a guy with a burlap sack over his head. And they're both so very different, but the whole output of it is heart rate, scared, and just afraid of the dark for a couple of weeks after that. And that's what we want to do with Daylight. Is it's not blood and guts and gore, it's twisted worlds and what's going on and what was that. That's what we want to go for.
And we're getting a little bit of a look at the game. Yep. Obviously a dark game like you would expect. But one of the things I want to talk about is you guys are really harnessing the power of Unreal Engine 4 here for PS4. Talk to me a little bit about what that means and some of the effects and the atmosphere you'll be able to create.
So we're Unreal through and through developer. We've been working with Unreal for many years, and we were able to get Daylight, or actually Unreal 4, GDC last year. And the one big thing that they added to 4 was this procedurally generated content drop, where you make volumes and you can put what's inside of it and it will fill rooms. And we looked at this like, wait, we can do this, but can it take logic and do it as well? And it did. And so we made a room generation system that we're using Unreal's blueprints. And so it's populating not only the world procedurally, so each room will be different and the elements will be different, but it's also the horror and the shock and the placement of ghosts and the placement of anything is completely different, and it's really hard to demo.
I love it though. I think horror is all about the unexpected. Exactly. And having a procedural system to kind of build a randomized, but I mean not randomized, you're not just throwing them on a table and scattering them willy-nilly. I mean, It's still, there's a logic, like you said, there are systems in place to guide this experience. Now talk to me a little bit about what we're seeing here. I mean, it looks like a cell phone, and it looks like that's a source of illumination. Talk to me a little bit about some of the tools at your disposal as you navigate these environments.
So anytime anyone needs a light or is in a dark place, they pull out their cell phone. It's just true tech that everyone has, even kids have. And so it was one of those things where like, this makes sense. And we put different items, so for example, the glow stick, or you can find flares, and each one of those actually have game mechanics connected to it. So the glow sticks will allow you to find clues or allow you to find different elements. The flares will actually thwart the ghosts or scare them away, but the way that the flare works is it's just so violent that it's throwing shadows all over the place using real-time lighting, which is the other big thing that Unreal gave us, is completely dynamic lighting, and it looks beautiful. And it allowed us to make these worlds. If we were to do this in Unreal 3, each time we would make the world, the lighting would have to get baked and placed in.
We're talking about like per pixel real-time lighting, the kind of stuff that you used to see in Doom 3, but you guys are doing it in a whole new way here with the game.
Yeah, so it allows us to have flexibility, but also the complex textures that they're coming out. We can make just insane shaders that will manipulate and kind of move around, and it's really awesome. And our team was relatively small when we first started working on this. This was really just kind of like a weekend idea, and it grew and grew and grew, and it's becoming something very interesting, because signing with Atlas, them bringing it to the PlayStation, it's no longer just going to be this little indie PC thing. and us making it a bundle, but also the exciting part is via Atlas, we're going to bring it to Japan.
Awesome.
So the source of our inspiration, we can actually bring it to the Japanese gamers, which is extremely exciting.
You guys are coming full circle with this. So talk to me a little bit. It appears we're in sort of, I would say, it looks like an abandoned asylum.
Right.
Now talk to me a little about, you kind of mentioned spirits and the supernatural. I know, of course, you know, any good horror experience, we want to go in unprepared, not expecting what we're going to find. But talk to me a little bit about some of the threats that are lurking here.
So we have a lot of different elements to it that you learn, and the things that you'll see mostly right now are our ghosts, which we made them very, very permadeath. If you're a gamer, you don't think that you get startled, but if you see something and it's going to reset your game, that's going to scare you more. So they're very brutal in the sense of when you see that, you want to get away because you don't want to restart. And so we're doing a lot of that. It'll be balanced, of course, easy, medium, hard. So like if I just want to learn the story, if I want to experience it and just have fun with it, you can go easy. But if you want to go hard, it'll be very different.
Speaking of spirits, here we go.
Yeah, and so in this, the spirits we'll have many different types of spirits that will really be different archetypes that you experience in any game. But then we have those subtle non-reset elements of things that go bump in the night that you just don't know what they are. And so it's really exciting, and it's really fun and really hard to develop on because, I mean, I come in and go downstairs and we've got a demo room that we turn off all the lights to focus test, and every single time it's totally different. And that's the really wild part about this is we really built it for sharing your experience with YouTube and everything that's huge. And so when we signed with Blacklight and we got to get that controller and that share button being that major factor and us getting to find out camera, X, Y, and Z, we definitely are going to be making the experience very dialed in for the PlayStation 4.
That's awesome. Taking full advantage of all the tools there. Share and scare, or scare and share, maybe I should say.
Yep.
I also want to talk a little bit about, I mean, what do you do when you find a spirit? I mean, this is not a first-person shooter.
Right,
I mean,
right.
You're not firing like ectoplasm guns and
Yeah.
things like that. Are you using primarily light sources to ward these things off?
So light sources, and then if they do grab you, you will be able to fight them off, but you'll want to run again, or some of them might just get you and you're done for. So really, it should be as soon as you see those, you should definitely be like, oh, what do I want to do? Do I want to run? How do I do that? And you'll learn how to manipulate the environment for the ghosts and everything like that.
Well, I love a good horror game. When are we going to be able to get our hands on Daylight for PS4?
We're aiming for Q1 2014.